Number 19 is Eddie Royal, deep to receive. He has returned one kickoff for a touchdown. He has returned one punt for a touchdown. He is one of the very best return men in the National Football League. Number 6, Steve Hauschka, getting set to kick it away. It is a riled up Baltimore crowd backing their Ravens, who need a win here today. And we're underway. Short kick, going to come down at about the 10-yard line. Royal to the 20. Out across the 30-yard line. Edgar Jones made the stop. On first down from the 31-yard line. Orton from the shotgun. And Blixton goes down. Number 95, Jarrett Johnson, his 5th sack of the year.
And Jarrett Johnson is unblocked, unaccounted for, right there at the bottom. He sneaks in, and for some reason, Orton's so locked in on the left half of the field, even coming from his side where he should have some vision, never, ever sees Jarrett Johnson. Kyle Orton was zeroed in on something that was not happening and really lost awareness for his hot read.
10th time he's been sacked this season, loss of 8, 2nd and 18. Looking for the screen near side. That's complete to Daniel Graham, the tight end. And he's corralled at about the 25-yard line.
Greg John Harbaugh tells us how few times Denver's in a 3rd and long. He gets one to start this game.
Going to throw it to the far side. And Marshall brought down short of the 30-yard line. That will bring the punting unit on.
Well, that is just a perfect start for the Ravens. Josh McDaniels telling us for Denver, the one thing we've been doing really well, we haven't had many negative plays. Well, that's starting the game with just about as negative a play as you could have, with the exception of a fumble or an interception.
The original line of scrimmage was the 31. This ball will be snapped from the 29. Mitch Berger, brand newly signed punter this week. This ball will bounce and take a Denver roll inside the 35-yard line and come to a stop at about the 30.
Joe Flacco not the least bit concerned about being banged into or rushers coming right at him.
On first down, Ray Rice is going to get the call, and he is tackled for negative yardage. Loss of 3 makes it 2nd and 13. Rice coming to the near side, turning the corner and up the sideline.
It must be nice to run a sweep and be behind a guy that's 6'9", 340 pounds. And that's what Jared Gaither is he gets out in front, Ben Grubb's right behind him. And look at Ray Rice. He waits for Ronaldo Hill to just be basically absorbed by Gaither right there. He just disappears. Nicely done by Baltimore.
3rd and 5.
Come down, Rob! Come down, Rob! Rob, through!
Flacco throwing, and that's complete to the 40-yard line. Todd Heap, first down.
Dawkins and Smith had him 3 yards short of the first down, and he muscled his way to move the chains.
Short drop to Flacco. Short pass off the hands of Heap, incomplete.
Well, that throw to the outside looked like it fooled Todd Heap. Watch him. He's just going to sit down right here. And then that, I don't know, it looked like Joe Flacco was waiting for Heap to slide to the outside, or might have just been a misfire. Hard to tell. Pretty wide open, though, to miss him by a yard and a half.
Ray Rice, the lone back behind Flacco on 2nd and 10. And Flacco incomplete at midfield. Pass intended for Derek Mason, and Andre Goodman was there. There is the rookie head coach, Josh McDaniels. Boy, what a job he's done, and just just absolutely, completely in control from the time he arrived, his players say.
And it looked like such a chaotic offseason. And Josh was saying, I know that's what it must look like from outside the organization, but from the inside, we thought we were in complete control.
Flacco on 3rd and 10, going to go up the seam. Oh, what a defensive play made by number 20, Brian Dawkins.
Well, that is everything that Denver was hoping for when they signed this former Philadelphia Eagle. Dawkins is underneath. He's in a trail position, but look as he turns back and gets lucky. He does not see the ball. He raises his right arm, and the ball caroms off of it. Good position by Dawkins, but there's a little luck involved there.
Sam Cook to kick it away to Eddie Royal. Royal from the 13. Sidesteps one tackler and spins down close to the 20-yard line. Light rain continues to fall as we welcome you back to Baltimore. 10:38 to play in the first quarter. John Harbaugh, the second-year head coach. And on first down, Correll Buckhalter trying to turn the corner and makes it out to about the 25-yard line. Pick up a 5, makes it 2nd and 5, and Orton will operate from the shotgun. Gonna look this side for Brandon Marshall. Covered closely by Fabian Washington. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Fabian Washington there at 31, playing with some emotion. A couple weeks ago in Minnesota, he got benched in the second half because he was getting lit up by Sidney Rice. And he has vowed to come back, and a lot of eyes from the Ravens coaching staff are going to be on number 31 today.
4 out of 5 plays on offense, passes for the Broncos. The pitch, Buckhalter going the other way, and that gets nowhere. Johnson and DeJuan Landry in on the stop, and once again, the Broncos will have to kick it away.
Well, we talked in our open about how important this game is to Baltimore. Falling to 3 and 4 when you talk to them is not an option, and they have come out early here displaying a lot of emotion, especially defensively. They are flying to the ball.
Chris Carr is deep for Baltimore. Once again, Mitch Berger, the punter, signed on Monday, almost had it blocked. Fair catch called for and made. Cloudy, rainy day in Baltimore, but not cloudy enough to deprive us of a great, great look at M&T Bank Stadium from on high. Welcome back to Baltimore, everyone. The Ravens from their own 40-yard line, and Flacco back to work on offense. Spreading the field, short drop, Flacco, short pop to Todd Heap is good across the 45 to the 47-yard line.
Greg, Ed Reed is one of the best kick blockers in football, and he's got to be sitting there right now going, how did I miss that punt? Folks, look at him coming in here from the left. The ball's going to go right between his arms. Berger's punt goes right between the forearms of Ed Reed. If Ed saw that right now, he wouldn't believe it that he could be in that good a position and not come away with the block.
That was Todd Heap's 400th career reception, by the way, on the last play, 2nd and 3. Here's Rice. Rice pulling his way close to a first down. And on the quick snap, the Ravens appear to get themselves a first down at midfield.
Showing absolutely no appreciation for the fact that JB was doing an update.
You know, and JB hates to be interrupted.
But move the chains, they do. And Flacco again gets him up to the line of scrimmage in a hurry.
No huddle, they do. Flacco drops. A little toss over the middle to Rice. This one will get about 2 yards, maybe 2.5. It'll be 2nd and 8.
And again, you can see the Ravens are staying at the line of scrimmage. They're going without the huddle, which a lot of teams in the NFL are very comfortable to do now. You know, it's so much easier to do when you've got these guys in-house year-round the way they do now. There's not a team in the league that couldn't be comfortable running a no-huddle. Some don't like to do it, but they all could do it if they wanted to.
Then again, you have to trust your quarterback.
But it helps to have the right guy.
You bet your Flacco. Deep drop this time. On the move, throws, and the sliding catch is made at the 40-yard line by Mason.
Boy, you got to have a strong arm to just flick it the way that Joe Flacco did on the run that time. That was more risk than anything else. He's going to get flushed right there. He gets run out of the pocket by McBean. But man, that was a hot throw.
And another quick snap and a first down.
Well, the Ravens are showing a tendency here that when it's anything to do with a short yardage play, they are getting right to the line. And again, this is just, this is not just a no huddle. This is hurry up as well.
Now on first down, here is Rice. Near side. And pushed out of bounds short of the 35-yard line. DJ Williams made the play on the near side.
You know, you can't confuse the two offenses, a no huddle and a hurry up, because a lot of teams like the Colts run that no huddle, but Peyton Manning stays at the line of scrimmage forever, genuflecting and going through the whole deal that he does. We've seen the Ravens here. Now here they're being a little more deliberate, but on a lot of situations they've gotten up there and they've run it with probably 20 seconds left on the play clock.
Flacco with time. Rice pulls it in. And he's down at about the 36-yard line. That'll give them a third and about 7.
Now here they go. Here's Denver substituting.
Hold on, man. Hold on.
And the Ravens trying to press the issue. Denver is still getting their defensive changes in and out.
I
think Flacco wanted to snap that ball, but the umpire was over the ball.
You all right there, you man?
Now LaRon McClain comes off the field for Baltimore. And Kelly Washington is in. Baltimore 3 out of 4 on third down against the best third down defense in the league. Flacco with time and throws incomplete. Derek Mason is screaming for a penalty.
Well, I think he wanted to break outside towards that football, and he's upset, claiming that he was held. Boy, look at Mason throw his helmet.
And it's going to cost him yardage.
Oh, he said something to the official. The official is going to get him for throwing his helmet. Let's take a look at it right here, working against Alphonso Smith, and Alphonso Smith almost takes his jersey off. Derek Mason has every right to be upset.
And the fans just saw it.
And John Harbaugh telling him to get back on the bench.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, 85 on the offense, throwing his helmet to the ground.
Well, Coleman is our referee. It's an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Derek Mason is justified in being upset, but you have to control that anger. You can't have it cost your team 15 yards.
Derek Mason was a much happier soul when we saw him yesterday morning in the cafeteria, wasn't he?
Right. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not sure that it cost the Ravens that much. We'll see where the field position ends up. But it was going to be a punting situation either way.
Sam Cook lofts one high and deep, and Eddie Royal is going to let this one bounce into the end zone for the touchback.
If this was CSI, they would check under Alphonso Smith's fingernails for parts of Derek Mason's jersey. And they would find some.
This is Noshawn Moreno. Across the 25 to about the 28. Let's go back to that play.
Yeah, this really should have resulted in defensive holding and an automatic first down. Right here, Derek Mason wants to make his cut. Man, that's pretty obvious. I'm really surprised that one of the officials did not see that. As you could see the jersey just pull away from Mason's back.
9-yard pickup for Moreno. He's going to look for the first down here. And looks to dive for it at the 30-yard line.
It's past the candy balls.
First down. Once again, it's Moreno. And he's stacked up at about the 32.
I think this is a Raven defense that's been stung, giving up over 100 yards to a couple of guys in their last couple of games. And they have really made a commitment that that's not going to happen again. Cedric Benson got him for $120. Adrian Peterson got him for $143 2 weeks ago. And you know, during that whole bye, they've talked about nothing but tightening it up.
Orton pulls it down and now throws, and what a hit on Moreno. Loose football. Baltimore ball.
Ed Reed, what a shot.
Terrell Suggs covered it up. Let's take a listen.
All right, does he have total possession? Because that's what Denver's interested in right now. Does no Sean Moreno have complete and total possession before Ed Reed knocks it loose? At first blush, it looked like he had the ball.
And the challenge flag is out from Josh McDaniel.
When you're giving up position at your own 23-yard line, you got to take it.
On the field of a completed catch and a fumble.
This is going to be an interesting call from Walt Coleman because there are several different aspects to this call, Dan.
Well, it's did he demonstrate a football move? It looked to me like he had possession.
After reviewing the play, the receiver had 2 feet down, turned upfield, was hit and fumbled. We're on the field stand.
Yeah,
Denver will be charged with their first team timeout.
There's not a doubt that Moreno had the ball. He did take his right foot. Watch after he makes this. Watch when he catches the ball right there. He turns upfield. He gets his right foot down. That is constituting a football move. And Ed Reed with a colossal hit.
Moreno loses his 3rd fumble of the season. It's only the 6th turnover for Denver all season long. And Baltimore takes over inside the Denver 25.
And keep in mind, Walt Coleman, because the ruling on the field was fumble and recovery, he would have had to have seen enough to overturn that, and no way was that there. No way. But still, I think worth it by McDaniels to. I don't know if they're trying to determine the exact spot of the ball.
The game clock should not have been changed. Please reset the game clock to 2:44, please. 2:44.
So it's an adjustment on the time remaining here in the first quarter. Meanwhile, here come the Ravens. First down now at the Denver 23.
Greg, we talked earlier about Denver matching Baltimore's intensity. There's no denying that they've got it going defensively, especially. They are bringing it.
Willis McGahee into the Ravens backfield. Flacco pulls it down and scrambles for a yard, no more than that, to the 22.
Check that out. That is an impressive statistic through 6 games, only 6 points off of turnovers. Of course, that's the offense not putting the defense in trouble, but when they're challenged, they've responded.
McGahee spinning out of trouble, but not the rest of the trouble.
Nice job there by Andre Davis, the middle linebacker. Man, he splits the gap and he gets upfield. See him right there going right through the A gap, puts a swim move on, and Willis McGahee did a great job of getting away from him. But man, it's tough when your running back is having to evade someone 2 yards in his own backfield.
So Ray Rice is back onto the field now, and it's 3rd and 10 for Flacco. Quick pass this side. Trying to shake tacklers and not able to do it is Mark Clayton.
Well, some stellar work that time by Denver defensively, forcing a Baltimore field goal attempt. That's the way you step up. And what a change for this team. You know, this was a Denver defense that, well, you know, was never known as really the most physical group in the league. Kind of had that finesse label put on them.
And now here's Steve Hauschka. Missed one 2 weeks ago from about this distance that would have given the Ravens a win over the Vikings. He makes this one. Nice view from on high as the weather has cleared somewhat. The rain has stopped here in Baltimore. That's Eddie Royal back at his own goal line for the kick. Ravens with a 3-0 lead, and this is Royal about 5 yards deep in the end zone. Not going to get much past the 10-yard line. Good coverage.
This crowd giving the Baltimore coverage units a nice hand for tackling Eddie Royal. They're savvy enough to know that the last time Denver played, he ran back a punt and a kickoff against San Diego.
Meanwhile, Denver on offense today, just 1 first down, 5 total yards. Correll Buckhalter in the backfield. Moving, looking, and is going to run it. 15, 20, and out of bounds right at the first down marker. Looks like he has enough for a first down.
Boy, and that is not Kyle Orton's specialty. He is not a scrambler, not that mobile of a quarterback, but he was forced out by necessity. But once he's on the edge, nobody has contained for the Ravens. And you can tell that they don't play Kyle Orton to be a running threat. No spy is assigned to Kyle Orton.
11-yard gain is the biggest of the day for Denver. First down. This is Buckhalter. And Buckhalter up the middle just across the 25. And we are coming up to the last 10 seconds of the first quarter. And we'll change ends of the field. No question, the Baltimore Ravens have had the edge in play and in intensity. As the first quarter comes to an end, can you tell it's still Halloween weekend? Welcome back to Baltimore, everyone. 2nd and 7 as we start the second quarter. Denver with the ball. The toss to Buckhalter. Turning the corner, can't squeeze through. Out to about the 29-yard line.
And I'm telling you, this defense, well, they're playing with the urgency that they need to. They desperately need this win.
Denver minus 10 passing yards on the day. Orton to throw over the middle, incomplete. Eddie Royal with the dive, couldn't hang on, and the punting unit comes on.
Well, Orton puts his ball in a position where Royal really has to stretch for it. And Eddie Royal, not the biggest of receivers at 5'10". He could have made that catch, but Orton just really made it a little tough, putting it a little too far out in front. Orton ended up on his back, but that really wasn't a factor. And that's Ryan Harris, their right tackle, who's got the trainers looking at something on his right leg.
Ryan Harris was able to walk off the field under his own power. They continue to look at him on the sideline as the punting unit is on. 3rd time today. Denver is kicking it away. Chris Carr is deep.
Watch out for Ed Reed.
Came close to blocking one.
He's on the bottom corner here.
Carr on the run. Made the catch at the 42-yard line and was knocked back to about the 40. Only a 30-yard punt by Mitch Berger, the new kicker signed by the Broncos this week. And it sets the Ravens up first down at their own 41. Rice. Full 1 or 2 to about the 43.
Well, Ray Rice is only 5'8", but what a complete player he is. He's the leading receiver for the Ravens. He's their leading rusher. And in just his 2nd year, he came out of Rutgers a polished package in both the running and the passing game. Really unusual for a rookie to be that accomplished in the passing game.
Flacco with time, throw too high, pass intended for Mark Clayton.
Yeah, you see that look on Joe's face. He's got a pretty good look at this right here. Little play action to Rice. He gets a good chance to shift a little in the pocket, set his feet, and then the ball just sails on him. He had him open. Good underneath coverage there by DJ Williams. That might have forced the throw a little high.
And now Flacco looking at a 3rd and 8. Flacco this time is short for Heat, and Heat is cut down short of midfield by Brian Dawkins.
Well, that is why you're a Pro Bowl player 7 times over, because you are a sure tackler. Look at Brian Dawkins square up, frame up, and go for both legs and wrap up. That's how you tackle somebody. In an era where tackling in the NFL is probably at an all-time low, there's a look from a veteran on how it's done.
Eddie Royal beats for the kick. And he's going to let this one fall and drifts out of bounds. 12:49 to play here in the first half, and Ryan Harris, the starting right tackle for the Denver Broncos, suffered a toe injury, and he's being wheeled off the field, replaced by Tyler Columbus, number 76.
They're saying his return is doubtful.
From the 24-yard line, Orton from the shotgun, looking for an offensive spark. The give is to Noshawn Moreno. Moreno, running room, right side, first down, and then some.
Well, the replacement for Ryan Harris is Tyler Columbus, the right tackle, and they're going to go right behind him. They're number 76. Watch him get the block right there. Moreno cuts right in off his hip. That's a good move there, getting away from Dewan Landry. That is an excellent cut by Moreno, and then making Landry miss.
Moreno, first-round draft pick out of Georgia. Orton to throw. Under pressure, throws, almost intercepted by Terrell Suggs.
Oh, and Kyle Orton got hit on the lower leg. Man, did he get caught with his leg at an awkward angle. And he's getting up. He's favoring that leg a little bit. Boy, does he get caught in a traffic jam. There's Johnson again. Ooh, you see how that right leg got caught underneath him when he went down?
15, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, Walt Coleman mentioned Brandon Marshall's number 15.
Well, Jared Johnson, who got a sack on the first play of the game, that time gets in and almost forces an interception by getting all over Kyle Orton. I think Kyle Orton and Josh McDaniels have seen enough of number 95 so far.
And it's early yet. Orton throwing back this way to Marshall. Marshall looking for running room, not finding any. Going to be wrapped up short of the 30-yard line. Kyle Orton told us the whole idea on offense is to get his wide receivers the ball in space and they'll make plays. He said with the exception of Brandon Marshall, who doesn't need much space.
Well, they're both so good, and I'm talking about Eddie Royal and Brandon Marshall after the catch. Although, give Baltimore credit, they knew that Brandon Marshall was a guy that could really hurt them, and he's got 2 receptions for a grand total of 8 yards, nothing after the catch.
2nd and 16. Orton, tip. Incomplete.
Boy, and that time Kyle Orton didn't want to step into that because he felt the pressure coming right up the middle. Haloti Ngata, number 92. Does he get the tip? Yeah, he gets the tip. I think Kelly Gregg is the guy that's coming up the middle. Number 97, and that kept Orton from stepping up. He got nothing on that ball at all. Even though it was tipped, I'm not sure that had any chance of being a completion.
Orton. Screen for Buckhalter. Dragged down from behind by number 59, Donnell Ellerby.
And this Denver offense is being forced by the Ravens to go completely out of rhythm. Even when they complete something like that, it looks just totally out of kilter. Give a lot of credit to the guys from the Ravens. They are getting it done. Pursuit, hard hitting, and great pressure on Kyle Orton.
Chris Carr is deep. Mitch Berger, who got off a 30-yard punt last time. Fair catch called for, and Carr makes the catch. First down from the 37-yard line for Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. And Flacco to throw with time. Outside, oh, what a catch made at the 45 of the Denver Broncos by Mark Clayton.
Well, that is the first time that either quarterback has really stretched the field at all today. And Joe Flacco finds an open receiver, but Mark Clayton has to go up and go spectacular. That was not a good throw from Joe Flacco. That was, on a scale of 10, a 10 by Clayton.
From the Denver 45 to give this to Rice. Rice tries the left side and gets maybe about 5. It'll be 2nd and 5.
You know, I talked about nobody's gone vertical on either side, Greg, until that play right there. Even with that, that only gives Flacco 41 yards in completions. With 8, you know, he's got 8 completions for only 41 yards. Orton, on the other side, has 5 completions for 2 yards. Say this is a bit of a defensive struggle to this point would be an understatement.
Fantasy players across the country are hanging themselves.
Unless you've got the respective defenses.
2nd and 5. Here's Rice. Maybe a yard, and it'll be 3rd and about 4. Orton on the left, Flacco on the right.
That's just hard to believe on the other side that Kyle Orton, 5 of 8 for whopping 2 yards. And Flacco's numbers are pretty pedestrian too, with the exception of that last pass to Clayton.
Flacco throwing outside, complete and out of bounds at the 30-yard line is Kelly Washington. First down, Baltimore.
Don't hurt yourself there, Kelly. That's how tough first downs are to come by in this game. That was an excellent throw from Joe Flacco. Right over the outside shoulder, right onto the hands.
And once again, the Ravens right up to the line of scrimmage.
Well, they show an unbalanced line with Gaither over on the right side, and then he switches back.
Here's Rice. He is so quick.
That's something you don't see every day. You see lots of shifting by tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs, but you don't very often see it with a lineman starting on one side of the ball and then shifting back to the other side.
There's Jared Gaither. You talked about,
and again, he's lined up at the tight end position on the right side.
You talked about how big he is, Dan. He is just huge, and we get a little jump at the line. Let's see who was at fault.
It looked like a false start here for Baltimore.
False start, 65. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
That's Chris Chester, the right guard.
Yeah, John Harbaugh is throwing them an overload look, putting Michael Orr at the right tackle position, and then Gaither, all 6'9", 340, right next to him.
Hey, alert screen!
A lot of meat.
That's putting a lot of stuff on one side of the line. There goes Gaither back to his customary spot at left tackle. What a fine pair of young offensive tackles the Ravens have.
On 2nd and 11 now. Flacco under pressure. Got rid of it. This is Rice. Rice to the outside. Running room. Down the sideline and out of bounds.
Sometimes there's no substitute for being 6'6", 235 pounds. And that is the case right here with Joe Flacco. Brian Dawkins has him in his sights, has him around the waist, and that's not enough. And then with some really good blocking and some nice little shifty moves, Ray Rice makes it a positive play. Great work by Joe Flacco.
Rice again, this time. Hole up the middle, 10 to about the 8. And a penalty marker. Late flag after the play. Let's see what Walt Coleman has to say.
Well, I think everybody sees Andre Davis from Denver signaling that whatever this is against the Ravens.
After the play is over, personal foul, 74, offense, 15-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
That's Michael Orr, the right tackle.
The #1 draft pick, Michael Orr. There he is on the right side of the screen, number 74. Are they getting him for just that shove on Lakeven Smith from behind? Well, he does give him a good push. There was no need to do that, but I've seen a lot worse.
I don't think I'm going out on a limb if I say you've done a lot worse.
I've done a lot worse, but the only thing is it was well after the play. The play was over.
Saw John Harbaugh yelling Walt on the sideline. Flacco to Rice, and Rice stood up by Kenny Peterson, and things are getting a little chippy.
Well, I'm not surprised. Two defensive teams, one for Denver, one for Baltimore here, going at it, and now it's the Broncos' turn to show they've got a little grit on their side of the deal too. But that penalty to Michael Orr, though, wow, did that hurt?
Rice and McClain behind Flacco. Flacco to throw. Looking to escape. Nowhere to go.
Joe Flacco did a jumping pirouette there in an attempt to flip it to someone who wasn't there.
Quite nice, I thought.
Check this out. All right, his primary targets are gone. He feels a little pressure.
Well.
And right there, he goes up hoping to recreate his little flip to Ray Rice that happened a couple plays ago. Nobody there.
Right now he's looking at a 3rd and 15. He needs the 13-yard line for a first down. With time this time, near side of the field. The catch is made. Derek Mason pulled it in, and that's very close to a first down.
Now Mason doing a wonderful job of coming back to the football. That's one of those deals where you got to come back to the ball, and if it takes you short of first down yardage, so be it.
Well, now the spot is going to be outside the 15-yard line. Originally, the official was standing right at about the first down marker at the 13.
See, look at that throw from Joe Flacco. And even though Champ Bailey has his hand on the football, and he is, by all rights, that ball should have come out of there. Man, what a job by Derek Mason of holding on. And Hauschka is thrilled to be closing.
Hauschka from 35 yards looks good and is good. There is Eddie Royal looking once again to spark this Denver Broncos team. There's no question the Ravens have had the edge. They're only down 6 points.
No, that you can't complain about that, but they haven't come close to showing much of anything offensively. This Baltimore defense has been just squashing anything Denver's tried to do.
Royal will return this one from the 1. Dodges a couple of tacklers at the 10 and squirts forward to about the 19.
Well, Joe Flacco, I thought, on Baltimore's last possession, opened things up a little bit by throwing some deeper routes. Now, he is better suited to do that than is Kyle Orton. A lot of Denver's passing game is short of 10 yards, based on letting those receivers do something after the catch. They don't stretch the field very well, but I think they've got to try. Baltimore sitting on everything short.
Orton running out of time. Throws complete. Far side. Buckhalter out of the backfield. Out to about the 30-yard line. Interesting talking to Kyle Orton about Josh McDaniels and his relationship, and he says he really admires the way Josh McDaniels thinks as far as attacking a defense.
Well, you know, Josh has some defensive background. When he first started with the Patriots, Bill Belichick had him doing things on the defensive side of the ball. He's got a real understanding of what defenses try to do, so offensively he tries to exploit that.
This is Buckhalter. And Buckhalter to about the 31.
You can talk all you want about Josh McDaniels only being 33 years old. That is the small number in Josh's life. His IQ is large. He is a brilliant young man with a football IQ that's off the charts.
You were asking Brian Dawkins how it feels to be playing for a guy younger than he is.
Yeah, it is. He's 3 years older. Dawkins 36, McDaniels 33. That's a strange dynamic.
2nd and 9. Orton, far side of the field, complete to Peyton Hillis out of the backfield. And out to about the 35-yard line. It'll be about 3rd and 4.
That's a guy letting it loose.
3rd down. Orton throwing. Got his man. That's Royal, and Royal across the 40, and a 1st down for Denver.
Well, Kyle Orton this time gets a chance to set his feet and deliver a good pass. One of the few times today that he's had a good pocket and able to just step up, get his hips turned, and get through the football. Again, Ed Reed delivered a big hit on Eddie Royal. And Ed Reed still got a little gas in the tank, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Coming up on 2.5 minutes to play in the first half. This is Buckhalter. Running room on the right side. Across the 45 to about the 47-yard line. Ray Lewis, Fabian Washington combining for the stop.
Remember, Denver lost one of their timeouts with an unsuccessful challenge. So they only have 2 left here as they try to move into scoring position. The great Champ Bailey finding something to smile about watching his offense try to work.
And we come up to 2 minutes to play. Orton throwing far side, and just across midfield making the catch is Buckhalter, and Fabian Washington puts the hit on him. They're about maybe a yard short of a 1st down. It'll be 3rd and 1. This is the deepest penetration of the day for the Denver offense.
And Denver using an awful lot of time here. They substitute. Now the Ravens make theirs. Denver being awfully deliberate.
2 tight ends on 3rd and 1. The give is to Buckhalter, and Buckhalter has a 1st down. Reaching to about the 47. Clock continues to move. 1:15 to play.
Now Kyle Orton's going to call the play without going into a huddle.
And looks like Baltimore just making the switch ahead of time.
Well, if Denver would have snapped the football, they'd have picked up a free 5 yards and stopped the clock.
And now we get a timeout called by the Ravens. 1st down. At the Baltimore 46. They're after him on the run. He threw it away.
Boy, this Baltimore pass rush, and Orton slow getting up, but Jarrett Johnson again. Johnson's in a down position there. He splits the gap in between Hamilton and Clady, and he again forces Kyle Orton into a very awkward landing.
Jarrett Johnson has played a full game just in this 1st half. Second and 10. A little screen out here. Brandon Marshall on the move, twisting his way to about the 40. Terrell Suggs with the stop. Josh McDaniels' big strength is making halftime adjustments.
Well, he's going to have to make some because do the math. That's 79 yards total offense. They have had to scratch and claw for every yard against this Ravens defense.
Orton throws, missed Marshall.
And again, pressure. Trevor Price that time was in the backfield. This Denver offensive line is struggling to keep guys away from Kyle Orton. And that time Ben Hamilton again lets Trevor Price, the former Bronco, go off his outside shoulder right to his quarterback.
Ed Reed is back for the kick from Mitch Berger. And they didn't get it off. That'll be a delay of game.
Which they don't care. They actually would appreciate the extra 5 yards.
Delay of the game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Well, Josh McDaniels, who is an offensive mastermind, his offensive unit is getting it handed to them by this Baltimore defense. 79 yards total offense in this first half. They are just being beaten at the line of scrimmage. Baltimore is putting on a tackling display. They are covering the receivers, and they are just knocking Kyle Orton around.
Berger lands this one inside the 10. Reed tackled at about the 7-yard line.
When you're a playmaker, you just can't help yourself. Ed Reed is such a good open field runner. Hey, why not? Well, that's why the ball gets tipped. Oh, I didn't catch that at the beginning. Oh, that's a free play. The ball gets touched. Right there, Josh Barrett puts a hand on the ball, and in doing so, that's what's called an illegal touch. Ed Reed, even if he fumbles the ball, Baltimore still gets to retain possession. Smart play.
And Joe Flacco will run out the last few seconds here in the first half. Consider this. Their last 3 games, the Baltimore Ravens have lost. They allowed 34 first half points. Today, they shut down the Denver Broncos completely. The Ravens will get their hands on the ball first in the second half. That's Ladarius Webb deep for the kick. Upcoming from Matt Prater. And the second half is underway. Webb from the 5. Look at him go. Look at him go. No one to stop him. Will he be caught from behind? 20, 10, 5, touchdown. No flags, 95 yards. The 3rd-round draft pick out of Nicholls State.
Josh McDaniels has to be livid. His last 2 games, he's seen a kick return for a touchdown. Darren Sproles did it in their last game against San Diego, and now Ladarius Webb. Nothing irritates a coach more than that. And nothing demoralizes the players on a team than getting a kickoff run back against them.
Ladarius Webb came into this game averaging 25.5 yards a return. That average is going to go up.
Well, when he decides to cut back, one of the Broncos got out of his lane, and right about there, I'm with you, Greg. I thought he was going to get caught. It looked like Alphonso Smith was going to get the angle, but Webb was able to cut it back to the sideline and gain a little distance going laterally. But he certainly didn't have to run over anybody or through anybody. A big hole in the coverage of the Broncos, and Ladarius Webb really gives the Ravens a little breathing room.
Ray Lewis gives his congratulations, and to some of the folks here in Baltimore, yet another reason why you shouldn't be late coming back from the concession stand.
Well, that's a 14-year-old veteran, a 14-year veteran, not 14 years old, a 14-year veteran congratulating a rookie on a job well done. Some congratulations are better than others. I'd have to think that one might be the best that Webb's ever gotten.
Now, at the other end of the field, a guy who can do exactly the same thing in Eddie Royal.
Well, the last time Denver played, he ran a punt and a kickoff back for a touchdown.
Royal from inside the 5. And doesn't reach the 15. Prescott Burgess, number 54, led the charge.
Well, and a lot of pushing and shoving going on afterwards. Eddie Royal thinks he was hit while he was still on the ground, but Baltimore saw a loose football, and they're going to go after it.
Line of scrimmage will be the 14-yard line, and now we'll get to see what kind of adjustments Josh McDaniels and the Denver offense has come up with at halftime. Orton throws far side. Tony Scheffler out across the 20 to about the 23.
Well, one thing we saw right there was Orton on the move and getting rid of the football quickly. I would think that realizing that his offensive line has been struggling, come up with quick releases, maybe move the pocket, move his point of release, anything to get the ball out of Orton's hands quicker.
9-yard pickup, 2nd and 1. Moreno looking for a first down, has it, and then some, out to about the 30.
Well, you heard Greg talk about Denver and what kind of a second half team they are. Just there it is right there. They've outscored their opponents 76-10 in the second half. Look at that huge yardage advantage. They forced turnovers, but that was through the first 6. Today's chapter yet to be written, but
how about
no doubt about it, they've owned the second half.
How about that 3rd down percentage?
Yeah, it's
on first down now. Orton going to throw it deep for Marshall. Incomplete. Wants a flag, and here comes a late flag from the far side of the field.
Well, you saw right there Brandon Marshall saying that he had his arms pinned down. And that flag did come in late.
Pass interference, 24. Defense. Ball in place at the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, they got the former Denver Bronco, Dominique Foxworth. Well, you know what? If you don't try to go downfield, nothing good is ever going to happen. Boy, right there, I don't see what drew the flag. It must have been something that transpired before that. The crowd reacting to what we just saw.
That's a 39-yard penalty. Here's Moreno. Moreno trying to turn the corner and dives inside the 30-yard line. That flag came so late, it's like it was called last week.
Well, I'm assuming that whatever the back judge saw before he threw that flag occurred before the very end of the play. Because what I saw at the very end was both Foxworth and Marshall elevating, going after the ball.
Ravens have had a bunch of them. Orton. Almost intercepted by Jarrett Johnson.
Why not? He's doing everything else. We've seen Jarrett Johnson attacking the quarterback, making plays in the backfield. This time he drops back in coverage and certainly surprises Orton, who must not see him underneath at all. And the thing of it is, if Johnson doesn't touch that ball, I'm not so sure that DeJuan Landry doesn't intercept it. It looked like it was headed right for him.
3rd and 9, and here come the Ravens fans. Over the middle, complete at the 15-yard line to Jabbar Gaffney. His first catch of the day. It's a first down for Denver.
And that was a strike from Orton. because Gaffney was actually covered pretty well by Fabian Washington. He's at the top of the screen. Washington's got man coverage, but he's right there. You can't hardly fault Fabian Washington for that coverage. He almost got a hand on the ball. Perfect strike from Kyle Orton.
Easily Denver's deepest penetration of the day. First down at the 15-yard line.
That was their best-looking play of the day.
Orton running out of time. Throws complete to the 10-yard line. And to the 9 is Peyton Hillis.
Well, the entire first half, we saw a Denver offense that was out of sorts. No rhythm. They just didn't seem to be in sync at all. And this is the first time that we've seen a flow to this offense. And McDaniels, as you can see, most of the time has had Orton getting rid of the ball quickly. Only that completion to Gaffney required him to hold on to the ball a little bit.
On 2nd and 4, Moreno going to come to the near side, cutting it back to about the 5. Maybe just short of the 5-yard line.
A lot of talking going on up there. And no Sean Moreno. He's another one of those rookies you talk to the Denver Broncos. He doesn't act like a rookie at all. Josh McDaniels even telling us that even as a rookie, he's got these kind of leadership qualities. Other guys want to follow him.
Third and short yardage. Orton looking. End zone. Overthrows everybody.
Boy, I thought he had an open tight end. I thought that was Daniel Graham who was open out there to the right side, and I don't know why Orton didn't throw it to him. There goes Graham in the back of the end zone. On the other side, I think Scheffler was open on the other side. It wasn't Graham, it was Scheffler on the other side. But Orton was locked in on Graham.
Well, Denver is going to take a timeout. Let's look at how Denver's been on 4th down conversions as they look at a 13-point deficit, their largest of the season, and trying to do something about it here. 4th and 1. Moreno in the backfield. Pass to the far side is complete to Brandon Marshall, and there were penalty flags. It looks like the Ravens jumped.
Well, it looked like Ed Reed was across the ball.
Offside, 20. Defense, half the distance to the goal. Penalty results in a first down.
Ouch. Watch here on the bottom. There goes Ed Reed. He's reacting to the center, Casey Wigman, lowering his head to look through his legs to see if it's okay to snap the ball. Centers in this game now get away with a lot of movement. It's a little tougher to maintain your line of scrimmage integrity as a defensive player with and centers are different. Some of them have a pretty pronounced move that they get away with.
Denver's 4th first down of this drive. Moreno in the backfield on 1st and goal from the 3. The rookie from maybe a yard.
Boy, anything between the tackles is hard fought against Baltimore.
You run into some really big people.
Well, you know, Price and Nada and Kelly Gregg, they get it all started. But then obviously there's a lot of talent. There's Haloti Nada, and he's on a knee.
Haloti Nada, the biggest of them at 6'4", 345.
It looks like he tried to get up and just can't seem to do it.
We'll take a timeout with 10 minutes to play here in the 3rd, and Denver threatening. Haloti Nada was able to walk off the field, albeit a bit slowly. Moreno in the backfield, 2nd and goal. Play fake. Orton throw to no one in the end zone. And
there comes a late flag. Tony Scheffler claiming that he got tackled before the ball getting there.
Pass interference, 52. Defense,
that's
foul
on
occurred
Ray
in the
Lewis.
end zone. We'll place the ball at the 1-yard line. First down.
There goes Scheffler releasing from the backside. And Ray Lewis had the right hand on the waist. You see Ray, he tried like heck to get it out of there and get it up in the air. But he redirected him, and the back judge saw it.
Moreno, touchdown. The rookie's second rushing touchdown of the season, his third overall, and Denver right back into this thing, capping an 86-yard drive, 44 of which came on penalties.
Well, this Baltimore team lost a game to Cincinnati because at the very end of the game they extended some Cincinnati drive with some critical penalties, and they did it again right here.
The extra point is good. Ladarius Webb, the rookie, last time he got his hands on the football, he returned it 95 yards for a touchdown. And he'll get another chance here from the 1. And doesn't reach the 20 this time. Penalty yards, the biggest offensive push of the day. Flacco still on his feet, now running, and across the 15 to about the 17-yard line, and just about back. And here's a really late flag.
Well, that is an extremely late flag, thrown clear on the far side of the field. This may help explain why Joe Flacco couldn't find an open receiver.
Illegal contact, 21, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's against the cornerback, Andre Goodman.
Well, there's a lot of talking to the officials. There's Goodman working against Derek Mason. And there is the contact, and there's contact again, way beyond the 5 yards. Goodman got him with the first time on the right, then came back and got him again with the left.
Sounds like your old boxing days.
Well, that was, he changed it up. But it was well beyond the 5-yard mark.
So it's a first down for Baltimore now at their own 23.
We come back, Gino.
Ray Rice, left side, out to about the 27. Andre Davis with the stop.
And again, here we go without a huddle by the Ravens offense.
And massive changes on Denver's defense.
Which if they just run up there and snap the ball really quickly, they could catch Denver with 12, 13 guys out there on the field. They're allowing Denver to substitute.
Rice again. Running room. 40. Out to about the 43 or 44-yard line and a first down. 17 yards.
Well, out of the shotgun, and it's more difficult to run out of the shotgun. But that time DJ Williams, the middle linebacker, gets caught in the wash, and that was his gap, and he's not able to make the play, and Rice breaks through.
Rice again. And this time just over the 45-yard line. A pickup of 2, and it'll be 2nd and 8.
Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator for Denver, has done such a good job, and of course everyone here in Baltimore realizes that he could do it. He was the defensive coordinator here in 02, 03, and 04. A lot of success.
Flacco throwing far side. That's complete. This is Mark Clayton, and Clayton inside the Denver 40 to about the 37, and another first down.
And Andre Goodman, the corner over there, who's locked up with Clayton. To that point, he's got him pretty good, and right here you just got to make the tackle, but Goodman kind of gets his legs crossed and isn't able to make the play, and Clayton certainly had no intent on going down.
And no room for a weak throw there, Dan.
No. Well, Flacco has got a gun.
Here's Rice. And right now, that Baltimore line opening up a hole here and there in the Denver defense.
Yeah, there's Mike Nolan calling the signals from up top for Denver. Remember, formerly the head coach of the 49ers, and his dad, a wonderful coach.
2nd and 4. Throwing to the near side. That's complete to Kelly Washington. And Washington just short of the 20-yard line. But good for another Ravens first down. And that's Ronaldo Hill still down on his knees. And he'll be tended to. We'll take a break. 6:46 to play in the third. Ronaldo Hill was helped off the field. Jack Williams replaces him. And it's a first down for Baltimore. And a loose ball at the 20-yard line. Broncos players say they have
it. The snap hits Todd Heap as he's going in motion. Joe Flacco was back in the shotgun, and Todd Heap moving across the formation has the center snap hit him on the way.
And Baltimore has recovered.
There's Todd Heap moving in an attempt to get, I don't know if that, I don't think that was an attempt at a direct snap to Heap.
If it was, it went terribly wrong.
And not only that, it looked to me like the entire Baltimore offensive line was moving before Matt Burke snapped the ball. That might explain why it hit Heap.
Bottom line, the line of scrimmage is just inside the Denver 20. And now a late flag comes flying in. We have had more late flags today.
Well, it's not every day you see a flag thrown 30 or 40
Please
seconds.
reset the play clock to 25 seconds. The game will stop to determine who recovered the fumble.
I guess, did they throw the flag on the clock operator? That might have just been to get someone's attention. And Josh McDaniels, I'm not a lip reader, but I think he just said, what's going on?
Second time into the red zone today for the Baltimore Ravens. 2nd and 8. Flacco. That one was complete to Derek Mason, and Mason brought down just short of the 15-yard line.
Well, both of these defenses, whenever the other team attempts something short in the passing game, they are getting lots of people over there to make the tackle. Yeah, that is really an astonishing stat when you look at that. 4 consecutive games coming into today, they did not allow a third down conversion in the second half.
And now Flacco looking at a 3rd and 5.
That's one of those "are you kidding me" stats.
Flacco throws, grabbed on the near side by Ray Rice.
But where he grabbed it appears to be short of the first down.
Heck of a grab by young Mr. Rice, too.
Yes, it was. Look at that one hand. He brings that thing back into his chest and gets his hand underneath it and controls it and keeps it from hitting the field.
Yeah.
Hauschka, 2 out of 2 on field goals today. This one from 31 yards out. And is right on the money. Maybe the littlest Raven in the stands. Welcome back, everyone. And apparently Mark Sanchez's exploits are nationwide.
I don't think there's a football fan in America who didn't, at some point in time during this week, watch young Mr. Sanchez have a dog on the sidelines.
Eddie Royal is deep for the Broncos. And 3 yards deep in the end zone, he'll bring it out. 15 and just across the 20. 10 points allowed in the second half all season long. 10 points allowed today.
Well, right now it's about scoring points, trying to whittle into this Baltimore lead. Denver had a good drive last time.
Terrell Buckhalter
Trevor Price just standing there.
There we go.
And again, more often than not, the Ravens defensive line is winning the battle. They are moving the line of scrimmage backwards into the Denver backfield.
When we talked to Trevor Price yesterday, is he about the most relaxed individual you could possibly talk to?
Well, he's been there and done that over 13 years. You're right, he's calm, cool, and collected.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11, Orton to throw. Over the middle, off the hands of Brandon Marshall, 3rd and 11.
He's got to catch that. And right now, Ray Lewis is telling him the reason you didn't catch that is you knew you were going to get hit. There's no way. You see that? He's got the brakes out. He saw Ray Lewis coming. And that is why Brandon Marshall dropped the ball. Assist 52.
3rd and 11. And the Baltimore fans are on their feet. Here come the Ravens. Orton getting rid of it. Complete to Buckhalter out of the backfield, but that'll be short of a first down.
And Greg Mattison, the defensive coordinator, has been criticized for maybe not blitzing as much as Rex Ryan used to do. He came with pressure there again, an overload blitz. Ellerbe, the linebacker, was forcing Orton to get rid of that, and because of the quick throw, they don't get the yardage they need for a first down. Madison, that was he on the sideline. He used to be the linebacker coach. Pretty tough replacing a coordinator as successful as Rex Ryan.
Berger barely got it away. Chris Carr, fair catch called for and made. First down now for Flacco and the Ravens from their own 27. Willis McGahee in the backfield. Going to get the handoff. Try to turn the corner. Maybe a yard. Andre Davis, Elvis Dumerville.
Well, this is Dumerville is in the process of his adjustment of being a stand-up football player. You see right there as an outside linebacker, he has to take on the tight end in Todd Heap. Did a good job of stringing out the play. He didn't give up any yardage, fought off the block, and gets in on the play. He told us it's a learning experience. I'm still not there. I've played my entire life with my hand down. This will take a while.
42 offensive plays. Cam Cameron has called 21 runs and 21 passes. Little flip out to the side to McGahee, and McGahee trying to break free across the 30 to about the 42-yard line. Ryan McBean, the defensive end, making the stop from behind.
Boy, this is really two outstanding defensive teams putting on a show here today. Most often you're seeing the first guy there make a tackle. When he doesn't make that tackle, there are 2 or 3 guys coming up to put a hit on the ball carrier or the receiver, and it's being done by both these squads.
Now another one of those 3rd down conversion attempts against the Denver defense. That one is complete, and there's a first down made. Kelly Washington has more. Out to midfield and a first down. 18-yard pickup.
Well, Kelly Washington, a nice sized target at 6'3". And you can see right here running his pattern inside against Jack Williams. Not only does he make the catch, but then a nice move to evade Williams and pick up some more yardage. This is, again, though, it is fun to watch Joe Flacco grow as a quarterback. Pressure or not, the kid is a player.
Baltimore 6 out of 12 on 3rd down today. This is Rice. That'll go nowhere fast. Mario Hagan, number 57. Big on defense.
Again, just on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Both these teams are violating airspace on the other side of the ball.
2nd and 14. Flacco with time. On the move. And is going to run it. And out of bounds. at about the 47 or 48-yard line.
Well, Joe just couldn't find anybody open. Denver only brought 3 guys and dropped 8. And look as he might, he couldn't come up with anybody. But I think Ray Lewis is kind of laughing at the nifty little move that Big Joe puts on once he's flushed out of the pocket. This is pretty slick right here. He allows McBean just to run right by him.
Well, not one of these veteran Ravens doubts the toughness of their young quarterback. 3rd and 13. Penalty markers fly. Throwing this side. And is that catch made? It is made by Mark Clayton inside the 45-yard line.
Geez, I saw that ball coming to the sideline. I'm going, there's no way Clayton can get his feet down.
This looks like a penalty against the Broncos.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's Elvis Dumervil there on the bottom of your picture, and that little nudge forward of his put him into the neutral zone. Well, because that completion wasn't enough for a 1st down, Baltimore will accept the penalty, pick up the 5 yards, and it's now 3rd and long.
And we come to the end of the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 8 for Flacco and the Ravens. Movement on the far side. Looked like Elvis Dumervil again.
Wow. Was he drawn?
Neutral
No.
zone infraction. 95. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Well, the call said Darrell Reed.
Well, they were both moving. Dumervil, he goes first. Then Reed comes in second and makes contact.
You know, Dumervil is used to having a few sacks in the game by now.
Well, he turned a 3rd and 12 into a 3rd and 7, and now he turned a 3rd and 7 into a 3rd and 2. One more time and just move the chains.
Quite the offensive defensive player. Rice in the backfield for Baltimore. 3rd and 2. Flacco going to throw for it. Scrambles out of trouble. Hits Kelly Washington inside the 25. 1st down, Baltimore.
Joe Flacco is not Ben Roethlisberger in his ability to move around in the pocket, but he moves remarkably well for a man his size, and very comfortable, very fluid, and always under control. And when he's moving, he's not looking at where he's going. He's always looking downfield. What an accomplished quarterback for a 2nd-year player.
And that was still another 3rd down conversion against the best 3rd down defense in the league. Ray Rice not able to get anywhere.
How about both of these defenses, Greg, turning in negative plays? They are making a living on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and it's happening on both sides. Both of these offensive lines are struggling to contain these 2 outstanding defenses.
Loss of 2 on that play. 2nd and 12. Side, Mark Clayton. Flacco got his man, touchdown. Derek Mason.
Man, there is no substitute for wanting to throw a laser and being able to throw a laser. Look at Joe Flacco lock in, but look at this pass. Look at that tight spiral, perfectly thrown on the post pattern to Derek Mason. Andre Goodman just couldn't be there, and Joe Flacco is playing some football.
Nebraska's extra point is good.
Denver was offsides. They were across the line of scrimmage. This will get tacked onto the kickoff.
Offside, 33. Defense. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Try is good.
You might remember in the first half, Derek Mason was livid about a call that wasn't made. He even got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. He's feeling a lot better about things now after the 20-yard touchdown catch. That was only the 6th offensive touchdown Denver has allowed this season. Eddie Royal not going to bring this one out. And Denver will get things started from their own 20-yard line. Welcome back, everyone. 13:07 to play in the 4th quarter. And Kyle Orton trying to spark this Denver offense. Throws far side of the field. It is completed on the far side to Jabbar Gaffney. No. Incomplete. Let's go back to the TD pass.
Well, right off the bat, Joe Flacco spots what's happening over here in terms of single coverage. Well, watch the 2 safeties here for Denver and their inability to get back in on this thing. The near safety doesn't go at all. The far safety can't get over in time. Man, that's pretty easy pickings for a good receiver and a good quarterback. Andre Goodman got hung out there all alone.
On 2nd and 10. That pass is complete across the 35 to Gaffney, and that's a first down for Denver. We were wondering about the injury to Haloti Ngata, the defensive lineman for the Ravens. We were told that his ankle had been retaped and he was trying to get loose on the sideline.
Well, not that this is some sort of an insurmountable lead, but I would think having a several touchdown lead that the training staff might be inclined to let him sit.
On first down, Moshawn Moreno. Now, this Baltimore team, strange things have happened late in games the last several weeks, so much so that Ray Lewis was telling us we've been working on having been tested in the final minutes of games.
Well, everything in the National Football League is about finishing. And of course, that's true in college. I mean, that's a football coach's, one of his favorite phrases. And it's something that the Ravens have really stumbled doing the last 3 losses. They played well enough to win, but they didn't finish it. They didn't seal the deal.
Orton with time. Lots of time. Flips it out to Daniel Graham, and Graham breaking tackles, diving for the first down, and comes up short.
You know, Greg, you weren't kidding at the top when you said this team could be 6-0. It's not that unrealistic to say it. Unfortunately, they're 3-3.
Orton throwing incomplete. And what a hit put on Eddie Royal by Ed Reed.
Well, Marshall and Royal both campaigning for a flag, but that timing looked awfully good by Ed Reed. He gets there basically the same time as the football. Yes, he gets there when the football is probably a foot away from Eddie Royal. That is too close for an official to call. That's perfect timing by Ed Reed.
Chris Carr deep for the kick from Berger. 7th punt of the day for the new Bronco punter. This one's sky high and very short. The fair catch is called for and made at about the 25-yard line. Looking down on the Inner Harbor here in Baltimore. Welcome back, everyone, along with our producer Mark Wolf, our director Bob Fishman, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, and the rest of our CBS Sports crew. 10:50 to play here in the 4th quarter.
In beautiful downtown Baltimore. That Inner Harbor area is really good looking. How about another negative play?
Ray Rice hit by Andre Davis.
Check it out. Starting 6 of 11 since then. Perfect. At 13. How about that? Only 5 incompletions all day for Joe Flacco.
Meanwhile, that's 3 straight carries for negative yardage for Rice. Flacco trying to dodge trouble and can't get away from Andre Davis, who's made a couple of big plays.
Well, Andre Davis is just running right through the A gap, and he's done it twice in a row now, completely untouched. Here he comes again, right between the center and the left guard. I don't know what Ben Grubbs, the left guard, is doing. He's sliding his protection to the outside, but there's nobody there. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Pass protection starts at the A gap and works its way out. It's inside out. You always take care of the guys coming right up the middle.
3rd and 20 for Flacco and the Ravens. And here's the screen for Rice. And Rice out to about the 23-yard line where the Ravens will kick it away.
Well, again, this is 2 football teams that pretty prideful. And Denver's trailing. Their defense did their job there, give their offense a chance. But we have seen some effort put in by Ray Lewis and his purple-shirted guys on defense. They have played some ball.
I keep going back to what Ray Lewis told us, that if the ball doesn't get over your head, it's hard for them to win in this league. And they've kept that from happening so far today. Here's Eddie Royal. Can't shake him. And down at about the 24-yard line. Orton under pressure, got rid of it. Buckhalter can't shake a tackle. Ed Reed all over him. Loss on the play. Indianapolis trying to stay undefeated. Denver is 6-0. And New Orleans is 6-0. They'll play Atlanta tomorrow night. 2nd and 15. Orton over the middle, knocked down. Dominique Foxworth made the play. Pass intended for Brandon Marshall.
Joe Flacco having a good time over on the sidelines. Foxworth there just working on Brandon Marshall, sitting in the zone, able to come in underneath, and that was not the crispest pattern I've ever seen run by Brandon Marshall.
Crispest?
Yeah, it just wasn't crispy.
Very Christmas to you, too. Denver 3 out of 11 on 3rd down today. Here come the Ravens. There goes Orton.
Well, Chris Carr comes off the corner, and Kyle Orton can't find anybody and goes down. 25 right there on the lower left. He's just going to get right around the half-hearted attempt to block him by Correll Buckhalter. As a back, you just can't put your palms on a guy and think you're going to run him by. You got to stick him. You got to put your face in his chest and bring him to a halt.
Busiest week of the season, kicking the ball away for Denver. Chris Carr, who made that play, is now deep for the punt.
Well, that's a flag. They ran into Berger.
And Carr bringing this one back inside the 45. This one's going to come back.
Well, it's a question now, is it running into the kicker, which will not give them a first down, or roughing the kicker, which would give them a first down? This is up to Walt Coleman.
David Tyree getting an earful as he comes to the sideline.
Big difference in the penalties.
Running into the kicker, 17, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Well,
so Mitch Berger's going to have to do it again.
If you're going to get the call, that's the one most favorable to Baltimore. Tyree just
half the distance to the goal.
He's lucky he didn't get called for roughing the punter. He kind of lowers his shoulder. He does try to, you know, it's almost more of a defensive move, lowering his shoulder. I think because he stayed away from the legs, it wasn't roughing.
And Walt Coleman just got a little bit confused. He said half the distance to the goal, but then he realized it's got to come the other way.
Yeah. If it was half the distance to the goal, that'd have been about a 50-yard penalty. 40 yards at least, going the other way.
gets this one away uncontested, and here is Carr from the 33, right up the middle, out across the 45 to about the 47-yard line. Joe Flacco has completed 14 straight passes. This give with Ray Rice, and Ray Rice to the 45 of the Broncos. Champ Bailey made the stop.
How enjoyable was it to sit and talk to Ray Rice? He's a very personable young man, looking right there playing with a smile on his face.
Dan, how about his analysis of preparing for the combine compared with preparing for a season?
Yeah, he said, you know, last year I physically prepared for the combine, which is trying to do my best at all these different tests. He said this year I prepared for an NFL football season. I'm 5 pounds heavier. I put on more muscle. He said it was a totally different style of training.
LaRon McClain with a quick handoff up the middle, looked to be about a yard short of a first down.
And it's really true. You do train for that combine and the very specific drills that you have to do at the combine, because your scores, your times, your number of bench presses, the reps you can do, they determine. Yeah, they translate into dollars and where you're drafted.
We're very happy to have Mr. Rice here in Baltimore.
All 5'8" of him.
And he said, oh, and I added 5 pounds of muscle.
He's not a lot bigger, but he's definitely strong.
And we get a whistle and a timeout called by Baltimore.
Ozzie Newsome, he did a good job of snagging this guy in the second round. When you consider last year, I'd say Baltimore got some productivity from the beginning of last year's draft, considering Flacco was their first rounder and Rice was their second round.
And Ray Rice gives so much credit to Willis McGahee, who has been backing him up.
There are teams in this league that can't get their first and second round draft choices on the field, much less get the kind of productivity that Baltimore's gotten from Flacco and Rice.
Look at those numbers. How about Baltimore's performance on third down today, succeeding where others have not. 3rd and 1. The give is to McClain. First down and more. Inside the 35, inside the 30, and out of bounds at the 25.
If you're a perimeter player, what do those thighs look like when they're coming at you? This ought to give us a pretty good shot. Look at the legs of LaRon McClain. 6 feet, 260. Yep, that's right. At the moment of decision, no sidelines for McClain. Lower the shoulder and go after somebody. Those are some substantial thighs. That man is powerful.
That's the best rush of the day for the Ravens, 20 yards. Willis McGahee now. I'm sorry, Ray Rice. And Rice inside the 20 to about the 17.
Right behind McClain's block. LaRon McClain last year seemed 33 on the left. Look how he gets in there and gets on Elvis Doomerville. Gets a good explosion on him to begin. You know, McClain had to do a lot of the running last year because of injuries, and this year he had to move back to primarily being the fullback, and he's had to give up a lot of carries and leave that glamour position, and he's done so. He'd rather be carrying the ball, but he's not complaining. He's a pretty good team player.
And these Ravens now taking valuable time off the clock with the ground game. Rice stumbles forward to almost the 16-yard line.
Well, going into this game, take a look at November. This is why Baltimore knew that they had to come through here today.
Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator. Time continues to move, coming up on 3:45 to play here in the fourth quarter. Third and 2. McClain, first down. Third down was the domain of the Denver defense coming in today, but not this afternoon.
Right. Now here's the Ravens' upcoming schedule. They're at Cincinnati, and of course they would very much like to avenge that earlier loss this season to the Bengals at Cleveland, and then a couple of whoppers at home against Indianapolis and Pittsburgh, and then making a trip in cold weather early December to Green Bay.
First and goal. McLean. Penalty marker flies. And that'll stop the clock with 2:48 to play.
Holding, 65, offense, 10-yard penalty, till first down.
Chris Chester gets his number called for the second time today.
Well, this has been maybe not the prettiest of football games, but it is so typical for Baltimore.
I was going to say, I think it's probably absolutely beautiful to John Harbaugh.
I think so too. This was, they were extremely physical. Defensively, they were outstanding. They were efficient on offense, and they played with the urgency of a team recognizing the kind of precarious position that they were in coming into today.
Defense set the tone. Offense has been balanced. Rice inside the 5 to the 3.
They are playing today like a team that was in the AFC Championship game a year ago.
And we have a Bronco down at the 15-yard line. That looks like it could be Ryan McBean. Let's see. It is. Second-year defensive end from Oklahoma State. So he'll walk off under his own power with 2.5 minutes to play. Ray Rice, meanwhile, 21 carries, 81 yards.
And that's a pretty unhappy Josh McDaniels, who hasn't seen his offensive team struggle the way that they have been struggling here today.
Hey, Dan, as we saw Ray Rice with that burst, how about what John Harbaugh told us yesterday morning? It's important for us to have Ray Rice fresh enough to be special in the fourth quarter.
Ray Rice is not a 30 carry a game kind of guy. They've got to be judicious in how often they get him the ball. But, you know, he doesn't have to be. With McGahee, with McLean able to carry the ball, they're clearly in a position where they want to and are counting his carries.
Rice can't shake the tackle.
And again, Greg, how many negative plays have we seen in this football game today turned in by both defenses?
Timeout.
Neither one of these teams
30-second timeout
is used to struggling on first down the way they have today. We've seen a number of ball carriers for both of these clubs take a handoff and immediately have to dodge a guy in his own backfield.
Josh McDaniels feeling good about his team coming in, as well he should have. They have played remarkably well.
Well, and they came into this game with a monster lead in the AFC West. They were 6-0, and San Diego was behind them at 3-3, and they'd already beaten San Diego.
Nowhere near the urgency that the Baltimore Ravens felt coming in.
No, the worst thing that happens to Denver is they leave here 6-1. That's hardly a disappointing start. But the Ravens, to have been in the AFC Championship game last year, the prospects of opening up at 3-4. Now that would have been a real disappointment.
John Harbaugh's dad is on hand here today.
They'll find you.
Third and goal for Flacco. And it's Rice up the middle, reaching for the end zone. Touchdown. It is ruled a touchdown.
He extended the ball and broke the plane, and then when he hit the ground, it came out. But when he hit the ground, the ball had already broken the plane. Well, Denver commits to an all-out blitz. There's nobody at that second level. When you do that, that's a touchdown easily.
All 5'8" of him stretched out over the last 3 or 4 yards.
That's what happens when you come with an all-out blitz. There's high risk involved, and if you're creased at the line of scrimmage, there's nobody there at the second level to stop the ball carrier.
So Ray Rice and the Baltimore offense putting a cap on this one. The extra point is good. It was a pleasure to run into John Harbaugh's dad, Jack, yesterday morning at the Ravens facility.
How are his sons doing, huh? Jack, coach of the Baltimore Ravens. Jim, Stanford's head coach. Jim is John's younger brother. John grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, when his dad was a coach for Bo Schembechler.
Eddie Royal at the goal line. And comes to a stop at about the 20-yard line.
Baltimore 30 points. Keep in mind, against the #1 scoring defense in the NFL, which had been giving up an average of 11 points a game.
Yep.
Next side screen.
Denver's touchdown drive today was 86 yards. Their other 9 drives total 52. That's no Sean Moreno. Clock continues to move. We're below 1:45. The most this season allowed by Denver.
Three games worth at that average.
Orton throwing sideline. That is complete, and out of bounds is Jabbar Gaffney. Stops the clock with 1:18 to play.
Well, one of the questions that we asked at the beginning, could Denver match what we assumed would be Baltimore's intensity? And I think the scoreboard gives us the answer.
I'm going to go with no. Orton had to get rid of it. Joe Flacco having a good time on the sideline.
I don't know if that's look at that. They're well aware of the fact. I mean, that's Derek Mason, a 13-year player, rubbing the head of his second-year quarterback. Sometimes they have to pinch themselves and go, is this kid really this young and this mature?
And this good. Orton going to throw to the near side. This is Royal, and Royal not much there to the 40-yard line. 65 seconds to play.
of 25. Extremely efficient, and a lot of those were really good throws. And it was really important after the first quarter, I thought, when they started to stretch the field a little bit. They backed Denver up a little bit defensively by Joe Flacco's arm strength.
Orton going to throw and overthrows Royal, and here's a penalty marker. Now the Ravens are going to say that ball was uncatchable.
That's what John Harbaugh is saying. And this is why the officials get together and talk about it.
And they're still talking about it.
There's no foul on the play for defensive pass interference. The ball was not catchable.
One of the NFL's unbeaten's falling. Right here in Baltimore. 4th and 7. Orton throwing far side. That is complete to Brandon Marshall, who's had a pretty quiet day today. And he gets enough for the first down.
I'm assuming that Brandon Marshall counted on having a much bigger day today. That's only his 4th reception for 24 yards. He has been really contained today.
Denver has managed to 66 yards rushing today. Down the middle, and that is a great catch inside the 30-yard line by Daniel Graham, the tight end. Kyle Orton wants 4 points on the board. And the spike stops the clock with 3 seconds to play.
The crowd. Hey, the crowd's going to boo him. Hey, if you're going to play football, play football.
Play to the whistle.
And play to the whistle. And play to the gun sounds at the end of the game.
By the way, when's the last time you heard a gun in the football game?
You know, it's just an old term. They used to shoot one. And I guess I'm giving my age by acknowledging that I know that.
Last play of the game here. Orton being chased by Jarrett Johnson, shovels it off to Correll Buckhalter. He's out of bounds, and there is our final score.